Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. We got some metalcore bands to check out today. This first band up is called Dead Reckoning. Now all these tracks today are over 5 minutes long. This one's nearly 6 minutes long. But the track's called Rise of the Fallen. It's got an official music vid to it as well. So let's give it a spin. Nice wide mix. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, drummers mixing it up. Heavy vocal. Cool. Drummer's working it out. Got nice energy to it. Yeah. Drums sound great. Got a nice slapiness to them. Nice amount of clickiness to the double bass as well, not too much. Yeah.
Deliver the blow. The time is down. The fallen will rise.
Yeah. Cool. Pretty crazy. That was a long one. Good one there.
Tomorrow
Cool one. Now this band, more than probably any other band that I could have said that have been on the show that springs to mind, just shows how a great drummer and a drummer who likes to mix it up and add lots of different fills, move over all of his kit, hit all the different cymbals in the different ways that you can, will take your music to the next level from where it would have been if you'd just been doing standard beats and standard fills and just kind of phoning it in. Because this drummer really definitely did that in this track. You know, the riffs were kind of quite basic for the verse. Because the drummer did so much fills and mix-ups and little blast beat sections, tinging on the ride, nice tom work, bringing in the double bass and all of that stuff, he really made the track a lot more interesting than it would have been otherwise. And I just love that. That's why I always talk about the drummers so much, because they just got so much power over the band. It used to be the case that, you know, drummers in the Beatles and all of that, it was a joke that, you know, they were just the metronome of the band, and they didn't even have to be good at the drums. You just had to be in time. That's all you needed to be. And I'm not down with that. I don't like that the drummers are just kind of sat at the back, just keeping the beat. Nobody cares who they are or any of that stuff. That's a load of rubbish in my book, because the drummer is actually probably the most important member of the band. He might not get all the glory like a vocalist or a lead guitarist or something like that, but he's really the meat and potatoes of the band, because he's keeping the time. But not only that, if he's a good drummer and does a lot of fills, does interesting stuff on his drums and works his kit out, he's going to take the song and the band to the next level, compared to, you know, you might have a great guitarist doing great shredding, and this guy was great in this band, don't get me wrong, he was shredding out to the max. But even so, if the drummer had been a standard metalcore drumming in this track, it wouldn't have been half as interesting as it was with this drummer doing a bunch of cool stuff going on. So there you go. If you're a drummer and you're thinking, man, I don't get all the girls and I don't get all the glory and all that, when no one cares when we go to the show who I am, know deep down that you're still the most important member of the band. Absolutely no doubt. Very cool. Let's move on to the next band, Defile The Crown. We might have had these guys on the show before. We might have had that last band on the show before, but I can't remember all the names. This track is called Littered With Sins, another official music vid. Again, over 5 minutes long. So we're getting some long tracks today, but they filled that last one out nicely with a big long solo and all of that. So let's see what these guys do. Now this one is a bit quiet for some reason, so I'll crank it up. Big washy cymbals. Now the drums in this band are big and weighty and punchy and more reverby. He's got that massive wash on the cymbal. So even though he's not doing a lot of fills, he's still filling out the sound very nicely because it's got such a big wash to the sound. These guys look pretty young as well. More of a chilled solo in this one. Cool. I must admit, I do like a more kind of, I call them sexy solos, over shredding, you know, that kind of wah, 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 wah. Ooh, sounds great. Yeah, real punch on those drums. The sound of that snare really kicks through the mix. It's got a tail to it with a reverb. It sounds like a gunshot down an alleyway. Cool. I enjoyed that one. For some reason it came out through the YouTube video very, very quiet. I don't know why that was. We've had all sorts of different YouTube issues on this channel, checking out thousands of different bands. But yeah, I could see that the mix was nice and wide. It was mixed properly. But for some reason, every so often when you upload to YouTube, the sound's all messed up, and unfortunately that's happened to these guys. So I would probably say re-upload these guys, unless they've got tons of views. They got 2,000 views on it, which is pretty nice. But yeah, it's a shame, you know, when you've made a track, made a cool video for it as well, a nice high quality video to go with it, and then you upload it to YouTube and the sound gets wrecked. And it hasn't come through properly for some reason. So it's a shame when that happens, but if you watch this channel, you'll know it does happen regularly, sometimes multiple times within one video. But yeah, I thought it was a good track, good video to go with it as well. Now, what I will say, because we had so much mix-up in the first band, in the drumming, I did notice, because, you know, it was fresh in my mind, that this drummer didn't do quite as much. And I think because, I was saying how much that takes a band and a song to the next level, that could be one thing that this drummer could think about taking his drum into the next level and subsequently taking their music to the next level as well. It's just it being a bit more technical, mixing it up more, doing more fills, working the cymbals out, tings on the ride, all of that good stuff. Bring in some double bass and things like that as well, maybe, to just kind of push this into a more into the next level, because it's more interesting, because there's more things going on within the music. But I thought it sounded great, and a real slappy, kicky, almost gunshot sound to the snare. Really kicked through the mix. Big washy cymbals. So I've got no complaints about the sound of the drums or anything like that. But just to make it more interesting, just mix it up more. But it was good riffage in there, a nice sexy solo, which I enjoyed as well. Different from the shreddy one that we got in the first band, but nice to have a solo and all of that, especially in a 5-minute track. You've got to fill that time out somehow, so you've got to bring in a solo and some cool stuff going on, but a nice mixture between the shouty and the singy voice. Now I will say, on these, I will mention on these metalcore day guys, on these metalcore days, when guys are doing singy and shouty stuff, you've got to be able to do both of those styles really well. And I thought this guy had a really great shout, no issues there, but his sing, in the kind of part where he broke it down and it was kind of more chilled singing, wasn't quite hitting all the notes there. So if you're going to use singing, a melody, you're either in tune or you're not. You can get away with shouting at any tone, it doesn't matter. But a melody, if you're doing clean singing, you're either on the note or you're not. And if you're not on the note, you need to practice just a little bit more to get on the note. That's all I will say. Let's move on to this last band of today. And this track's nearly 6 minutes. I must be going for a while now, 17. This is Dying Oath. This track's called Insomniac. So yeah, let's just finish off with these guys. Oh, this one's nice and loud. Again, nice and wide, so we've had no issues there. She's got some gravel in her throat. Like worms in the grave, pulling forward from under your feet. Nice little bits on the double bass there. The promises they loved you. Now this time is it they will take from you. I'm falling down on my knees. I'm begging you, please don't go. This life is life in no mistake. You're the only reason I felt at home. You can nice punchy drums in this one as well. It would have been nice to see a bit more vocal layering on the cleans in this one. I think they've actually only done 1 layer. It's always nice to do at least 2 layers, because it gives it a kind of almost natural harmony. Oh, there is some layering on there, but it just thickens it up, She's got a big gravelly voice, so you want a nice thick, clean vocal next to it. Nice guitar tone in this band, and you can hear the bass separately as well. It's a good mix. Just little triplets on the double bass. Yeah, I think that's a single layer of vocal. know, when your music's this chunky and fat, the drums are this punchy, and you're next to a vocal that's big and gravelly and deep, you need to make that clean vocal as thick and as big as it can be as well. Some reverb, maybe a bit of delay, double layer it up, pan it out a little bit as well, because otherwise it's not going to sound as powerful as everything else in the mix. A clean is never as powerful as what she's doing now. Big, gravelly, guttural shout. Nice guitar tone. His voice just hasn't got, because of the way it's been done, it hasn't got the power of the rest of the music. Now where they're both singing, because that's how it would be when it was vocally layered. That part sounds great. Cool. Another cool video as well for it. So yeah, I think we've done well today. What I would say for these guys is I enjoyed everything about it, but I do think the male vocal, because everything else in the band was really loud and chunky, and her voice was deep and gravelly and really had a big tone to it. You know, had a lot of tone in there because of the gravel in her throat, the deepness in there as well, the inflection in her voice as well. And I just thought that the male vocal got drowned out compared to the rest of it, that's all. You know, and the way that he wouldn't get drowned out is by doing more vocal layering, maybe adding a bit of gain and dirt to the vocal a bit. You can do, you know, add more reverb, maybe do some delay on it to thicken it up that way so there's more sound going on. But yeah, that's what I just felt. It kind of, every time he came in, it kind of just felt like he was a bit drowned out compared to the rest of the band. You know, he was on volume 7 and they're all on volume 10. So yeah, that was kind of mainly a mixing issue, I would have said, because the song was cool, had a good bounce and a good energy. I was bopping away to it all the way through. She had a heavy vocal. There was a nice riffiness to the guitar and a great guitar tone. You could hear the bass in there as well, and some cool drumming. Now, I will say the first drummers kicked the most ass by far today. And that's why I spoke about him so much, because he really elevated that song to the next level with all his interesting drumming and all the different mix-ups and stuff that he did. So I think any drummer, but the two other drummers in these next two bands could definitely take a leaf out of his book and just be more exciting, more interesting, and just more cool at the end of the day, because you're just doing more stuff on your kit. It sounded dope. I was loving it. So yeah, I think that's kind of the The moral of the story that we'll take away from today's video is just be a dope, mixed up drummer like the first band. What was the name of that band? I've forgot the name already. Dead Reckoning. So yeah, fair play to the Dead Reckoning drummer for showing off and showing all these other drummers how to get it done, you know, because I thought it was dope. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. That'll be it for today. We'll see you around. Bye.